Hello, viewers of the WrestleNet Radio Podcast Network YouTube page, and welcome to the latest edition of the Pro Wrestling Magazine Spotlight. Nate Maxon, your host, here with you, and as you can see, I am joined by Mr. Ice Cold Mark Brew.
How you doing?
And my brother Aaron.
Hello.
Aaron didn't get the
If I didn't have this
boisterous.
table, if I didn't have this table in front of me, I would have got up and gave Brew his dance greeting.
the "Oh Brother Where Art Thou" dance that we were discussing before we hit the
This is wild
airwaves.
about Andy. I can blow into it.
This week, the poll that was decided on by our Facebook group users, I put up 3 magazines, and you chose Inside Wrestling from April of 1988 for us to go cover to cover through. Like I said on the previous shows, we'd be here for hours if I actually read the articles out loud and et cetera, but we just go through the articles that are in the magazine, go through the rankings. It's a topic of conversation to talk about the angles of the time, the wrestlers that were big in the magazines. And really quick, before we go to the air, or as we were going to the air today, unfortunately, the passing of superstar Billy Graham. And you can say what you want about the superstar. You can say what you want about the superstar. You know, sometimes not always, I think, the best human being at times, but you can't deny his impact on the industry. You know, how many wrestlers took that, what Superstar did, and took inspiration, and in the WWF, what's that?
I said I was working all day, so I didn't really get on the internet, so I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, he passed away today. I think it started at Ric Flair's. Ric Flair tweeted it earlier, and then they confirmed it on Dynamite, and then all the wrestling programs, obviously, or the wrestling websites and stuff are confirming it now too. But yep, Superstar passed away today. He'd been on life support for a few days.
I think he's been on life support since like '95.
It seems like it. Well, I was going to say, it does seem like it. He had a lot of health issues, and he was open about it. You know, he was open about his abuse and what it did to his body. It did, you know, his steroid abuse and stuff. And again, whether good or bad, because, you know, we've talked about in the past how he would cry foul whenever he had some financial troubles. He loved Vince, and when he didn't, he hated Vince, and et cetera, et cetera. But again, talking about him as a performer, you can't deny his impact on the business.
As a performer, you can't, and as like an icon in the business, and like you said, a lot of people took a lot of shit from Superstar. Like took a lot of his. I shouldn't say took a lot of shit, but you know what I mean. Like took a lot of his gimmick from him. Mm-hmm. I've talked about him before on past shows, and I didn't think he was like the best human being in the world. But I'm not going to talk bad about somebody that's passed. So I'll just say that. For every negative that I said about him, he did contribute a lot to wrestling, and he changed how a champion is presented. Because a lot of time, like it was a lot of times the baby face was the champ and the heels chased, and then he reversed that shit. Him and Vince Senior reversed it. You know what I mean? They flipped the script. If they wouldn't have been able to do that, you probably wouldn't have had the idea of Flair doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and if you ask me, if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have people like Hulk Hogan and you know the muscle bound guys that everybody gawked at.
Yeah. Like I said, he said he could be one of those few guys that said it, that could say that he set a standard. You know, as far as a mold for a certain type of professional wrestler. So rest in peace, Superstar. Our thoughts and et cetera are with his family and friends. And
he's just a guy that I don't think carried himself great, but after he got out of it, I don't think he did the business any favors. You know?
Well, like I said, he may come up in this magazine because at this time I think he was working with the WWF or about to be. Again, it Inside Wrestling, April 1988. On the cover is it says the The Hogan Andre DiBiase connection. This scandal has rocked wrestling's foundation. At the time that this came out, the purchase of the championship, I don't know if it had happened yet or not, so we'll see as we get in here. I know they have an article about DiBiase proposing it, but we'll see if that's also on the cover. It says Lex Luger, the reason Flair's 5th reign will be his shortest. This was $1.75 in the United States, $2.50 in Canada.
Yeah, this is when Andre won the World Tag Team Wrestling World Championship, right?
Yeah, the World Drag Championship. The first ad here. Let's see. Oh, Aaron, you know about this. There's an ad
Besides
in
the
here.
ones that they're gonna skip to watch this on YouTube.
The first ad here is for you can send $29.95 plus $4 shipping and handling to get your hands on the Gordon Solis Championship Wrestling Trivia.
I have that. I own it.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $30.
Oh, well, then it hasn't gone up because it was $29.95 plus
It did
$4
not depreciate
postage.
either.
Well, this is 88 money, so it's actually went down. So I saved.
Got a bit of a deal there.
Yes.
Let's see. We have next ad. It's the Pro Wrestling and actually I think I might have one of these somewhere. It's an ad for Pro Wrestling Illustrated's VHS tapes that they're selling. These are VHS tapes, only $44.95
for 35 minutes, probably. What is it, like Lords of the Ring?
Lords of the Ring
Right.
and Ringmasters, the Great American Bash. So
Yeah,
they
what's
were
the-
obviously
what's the-
working with Crockett.
What's the runtime? Runtime, like 35 minutes?
It doesn't say on the
Nah,
ad.
they were like 35, 40-minute tapes for like $50.
Yeah, just clips of like
And
some of the
music
matches you probably
videos.
didn't even see. You didn't even see the finish.
Yeah, it's just music videos, like fucking set to like freeze frame or whatever.
Or it
Trash.
all rolls into the next one.
Yes. But yeah, like let's see. The Lords of the Ring. You can see Kerry Von Erich wins the NWA title from Ric Flair. Ric Flair's victory over Kerry in their Japanese rematch. Roddy Piper versus Greg Valentine in a dog collar match. Ric Flair retains the NWA title from Harley Race in a bloody cage match at Starrcade 83. The Road Warriors versus the Fabulous Ones, etc., etc. Like you said, Aaron, it's just clips. There's no way any of these matches are full.
Yeah, and we can make fun of it, but how stupid we were when we were kids. We had that fucking board game that WWF put out, remember?
Yeah.
And it had the video cassette with it. What was that called? I can't remember the name of the game, but we barely played the game, but we just sit and watch that fucking video. And it was like clips of like Hulk Hogan versus Paul Orndorff and clips of Junkyard Dog versus Hoss Funk.
Yeah.
You know, and we watched it and we were like, this is fucking great. So, I mean, I don't know how much our parents paid for that fucking board game for Christmas, but at that point, that was like the greatest shit on earth. That's silly to look back at it now. But I wish I had that board game.
Now you have it all at your fingertips. Just here we go.
Yeah.
Just click on the peacock and watch whatever the hell you want. No, so the Bill Apter's reporting here on names making news. This is the news going around the wrestling world at this time. Let's see. The NWA has merged with the UWF and dissolved the UWF Tag Team title, formerly held by the Sheepherders. Jim Crockett, president of Jim Crockett Promotions, also announced that the UWF Heavyweight title held by Steve Williams will remain intact until a unification match between the NWA World Champion and UWF Champion is held probably this month. You know, people like to criticize the WWF for dropping the ball when they bought WCW and ECW. Crockett didn't do any better buying the UWF.
Yeah, the only people he did anything with were Steve Sting and Steiner. I think everybody else was just kind of shunned.
Yeah.
They powdered out.
And Bubba, they did shit with Bubba. So I'd put Bubba on that list too, but that was Dusty. We're
Actually, no. The shit they did with Bubba, they did before he was in the UWF.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because in '88, when the UWF closed up in '88, he winds up in the WWF by summer as the boss man.
Yeah, so it would be. So I was right. I think it was. I did not pat myself on the back, but I think all they did anything with was Sting, Steve Williams, and Rick Steiner.
World Pacific Champion Superfly Tui
Who the fuck
has asked the NWA for a shot at World Champion Ric Flair. Promoter Leah Maivia is currently negotiating with Jim Crockett Promotions. Hey, what's up, Superfly Tui?
Superfly Tui? Is it Chewy or Tui?
Tui, Tui, or
Tui.
Twee. I don't know. I say Tui.
I'll go with that.
That might have been Polynesian for two.
Superfly Dose.
Superfly 2.
DJ Peterson recently won the Central States title from Bulldog Bob Brown. I'm sure that match was terrible.
Yeah, he had a big mustache and a perm. He sucked.
He was overcompensating.
Brown wasn't that great either.
Let's see. Kerry Von Erich won a... Go ahead.
Or Magnum TA. DJ Patterson or Peterson looked like if you put like Magnum TA in a dryer too long. That's what he looked like.
Damn.
Kerry Von Erich won a Stingray automobile in a pole battle royal at World Class's Christmas show at Reunion Arena. On the same card, Eric Embry regained the Texas Junior Heavyweight title from Sean Simpson. The way it's worded here, it makes it sound like they actually had the Stingray automobile hanging, Stingray on a pole match.
And then Texas never made any sense with like their junior heavyweights and their light heavyweights. It's like Eric Embry's our junior heavyweight. It's a big fat guy. Like oh, Mick Foley, Cactus Jack. He's the WCCW light heavyweight champion.
Yes, and that was actually a thing, folks. Cactus Jack actually held that belt.
It's like you realize he weighs like 267 pounds, right? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Kayfabe, Aaron. It wasn't dead then.
When I'm watching Old World Class, this next thing is one of the things that I always roll my eyes at, because I like to watch the end of WCCW because I like to watch a promotion die. But anyway, an unusual series of events led to the firing of The Thing by manager Percy Pringle. Killer Brooks sold The Thing to Pringle for $50,000, but Gary Hart laughed when he found out, since he knew that Brooks did not sell Pringle The Real Thing. New Age management, consisting of Hart and Vince Apollo, signed The Real Thing. Pringle immediately fired The Thing and got mad at Brooks when he refused to refund his money. Now Brooks, an ally of the New Age management, is helping out with The Real Thing. The Thing has left World Class.
Well, that is probably a record for how much a thing has sold for.
What a thing! Bottle of Pepsi. Wasn't that Pepsi's slogan in like '88? The Real Thing. Or was that Coke? I don't know. But that made my fucking foot hurt.
Whoa!
I can't believe I got through it without stuttering. But yeah, have you ever watched the stuff with The Real Thing?
No, you reading it gave me diabetes.
Paulie Dangerously, one of the most influential individuals in the AWA, often helps his men win matches simply by enraging their opponents. Adrian Adonis defeated Wahoo McDaniel by disqualification at the AWA's Christmas show when Wahoo stole Dangerously's telephone and used it to attack Paul, Adonis, and the referee, Gary DeRusha. AWA is the promotion that I've watched the least of in my life. So I didn't even know that Paulie Dangerously managed Adrian Adonis in the AWA, but I think that would be fun to watch.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I didn't know that either, honestly. But that would be fun to watch those two together.
As reported in the May issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Mama Cornette. You know how they have like when they have the wrestlers' names, they like highlight it in black. You know, so it's they actually highlight in black Mama Cornette. I think that's fun. But it says, as reported in a May issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Mama Cornette has ordered her son Jim Cornette to separate the Midnight Express occasionally so they can go after Dusty Rhodes' U.S. title. Bobby Eaton figures to get the most of the title shots at the outset. Mama Cornette, one of the greatest characters in wrestling that never appeared on TV.
Did you know they gave her the like the PW? I don't know what it was, like the exact name of it, but like, you know, like PWI would have the person that wasn't on camera, like the Achievement Award or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Actually gave that to her.
Well, she deserves it.
There's a PWI year-end award picture with him with Jim and his mom, and she gets a plaque, and she wasn't ever on TV, but she contributed to the business a lot.
Yep. I like the. I don't know if you guys listen to the. I don't listen to the Experience anymore. I still listen to the Drive-Thru. I listen to the question parts of the Drive-Thru. I just don't care to listen to Jim Cornette review TV shows. That's just not, and that's kind of what 70% of the show has become.
I don't know why people watch shit they don't want to watch. Talk about it.
But on the Experience.
Hold on, you just said you don't know why people do that. We do it all the fucking time.
I watch shit I like to watch,
even if it's terribly bad.
Yeah, but I enjoy watching it. But like, I don't watch shit I don't want to watch. Like, I don't watch AEW because I know it sucks and I don't want to watch it, so I don't watch it.
Well, anyway, the mom. I was getting at a Mama Cornette story. It's funny, on the Drive-Thru a couple of weeks ago, Jim was telling a story about when they were talking about the A&E Legends on the Iron Sheik, I think it was, and he was talking about Sheik and when he came to, he first came to Tennessee and in the territory and stuff.
Oh, and him and his mom drove him.
Yeah, him and his mom were driving Sheik around, and he was so he's like just like, hey, Mama Cornette, asking her questions
Mama
about different towns and.
What is this about Mama Cornette?
It's funny to think of Jim Cornette and his mom driving around with the Iron Sheik.
They got good cannoli.
Hey, Bubba. The Inside Wrestling capsule profile on this month's edition of Inside Wrestling is about King Kong Bundy, and this is early '88. At this point, he's just about gone, if not gone, from the WWF. And again, this just goes through his career and different things that he's accomplished, and et cetera, et cetera. I do think it's funny that at one point his name was Boom Boom Bundy.
Boom Boom.
Boom Boom. He teamed with Jerry Blackwell as Boom Boom Bundy.
It's after he left. I think it's weird that he never wound up in NW. Like he never wound up like Jim Crockett. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just weird. Like, this guy main evented WrestleMania, and when he left, he just went to the Indies and was like, "Fuck it, I'll just whatever."
Yeah, and he became one of those stalwarts on the Northeast independent scene.
Like, I don't know if
wrestling.
If they didn't want him, or if he was just a homesteader and didn't want to go down there, or what the fuck it was. But I mean, he did do movies and television and shit. Like, he was actually on like Married with Children. He was in, what was that fucking Richard Pryor movie, Moving, or whatever. Like, he did that type of shit. But it seems crazy to me that he never either got offered to go there or if they offered him and he didn't take it. It just seems weird.
Mm-hmm.
He's a weird cat with his career.
And he should be in the Hall of Fame, and he's not.
Yeah, he might now. Like, I don't know what he did.
I don't either. I mean, I never heard anything about him being a problem, and he main evented at WrestleMania.
He ate all the catering.
The walking condominium, as Gorilla Monsoon would call him.
Broke Chad Austin's couch.
His futon, not his couch. Broke his futon.
Double whammy. That's my couch and my bed.
Son of a bitch. Well, now we'll go to news from the Wrestling Capitals, which is where they tell us some of the wrestling cards that the correspondents have sent in. East Rutherford, New Jersey. The British Bulldog, it's the WWF, obviously. The British Bulldogs beat the Bolsheviks. Jake Roberts pinned Mr. Fuji. I love it when you see, like, in like 88 or 89, Fuji just randomly wrestling someone. Probably just because he was like, I want to get in a ring. Can I get in a ring? I want to wrestle tonight.
Or somebody didn't show up.
Yeah.
He's old.
He's old, but he can still go. So let's let him compete. Magnificent Morocco beat Butch Reed by countout. Hacksaw Duggan pinned Harley Race. Ted DiBiase pinned Coco Beware. And Hulk Hogan beat the one-man gang in a steel cage match.
Which was probably pretty goddamn good.
That was a good card. I'd have watched that card.
Yeah.
The Crockett's are in Roanoke, Virginia. Ricky Santana defeated Rocky King. Mike Rotunda beat Thunderfoot 1. John Savage beat Gladiator 1. Rick Steiner defeated Kendall Windham. Kevin Sullivan defeated Eddie Gilbert. In a 6-man tag match, Jimmy Valiant, Bugsy McGraw, and Mighty Wilbur. Let's just put all the shitty guys in one team.
That sounds like an Aaron Maxon match suggestion.
Who they beat? Paul Jones' Army?
It's funny that you say that. Because they beat Ivan Koloff, the Warlord, and Conga the Barbarian.
Paul Jones' Army!
And then Arn Anderson defeated... Barry Windham defeated Arn Anderson. Let's see here. Now we got Memphis, Tennessee. And this is during the time, folks, where Memphis and the AWA were working together. So we're in Memphis.
Aaron's over there being Thunderfoot 2 right now.
Dropping Thunderfoot 2.
Well, now, I love that when AWA and USWA try to like work together and like do all them super clashes or whatever. What was Super Clash, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Vince McMahon was like, these guys are going to try to get together and promote a show, and none of them can decide who's going to pay for lunch.
Yeah, it's a clusterfuck. But the card here was in Memphis. It's you got the Midnight Rockers, obviously Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, beat the Nasty Boys. Jeff Jarrett
didn't see that in WWF a million times.
Jeff Jarrett defeated Manny Fernandez. Jimmy Jack Funk beat Billy Travis. Bill Dundee defeated T.J. Khan. Bobby Jaggers and Hector Guerrero beat the Blue Denim Bruise Brothers. The Blue Denim Bruise Brothers.
Yeah, just the regular Blues Brothers, just wearing pants.
Wearing jeans, yes. And then
they had some pretty decent people so far on that card. If they just would have swapped around some of the talent, they could have been good.
In the main event, Jerry Lawler beat Kurt Hennig. But yeah, I mean, you know, you look at the card and you're like, oh, this sounds like that's the one thing. Sometimes you read AWA stuff because I'm a Memphis fan. So I'm down with Memphis. But sometimes you read AWA stuff. If you just read the card, you're like, damn, that's a fine wrestling card. And then you watch it and you're like, that was boring. Like, how did you ruin a fine wrestling card like that?
Looks can be deceiving.
We have last show is an indie show here in Waltham, Massachusetts. Waltham, Massachusetts. No promotion named.
This was the AEW of that time.
Superstar Richard Byrne
Who?
beat Mongo Clean.
Does that mean he went over clean?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Did he beat Steve McMichael without like a weapon? Or did he beat a guy named Mongo Clean?
And my other question is, I don't know, like, would this have already been Damian Demento? I don't know if he was wrestling as that gimmick and all the way back to 88.
He would have been. Yeah, all jokes aside, it's him. It's that piece of shit.
Johnny Rodz defeated Alex the Great. Jamie West defeated Black Venus. And Sergeant Slaughter defeated the Iron Sheik.
Is that a member of Val Venus's family?
That's his auntie. She didn't like that he went into the she didn't like that he went into the adult film industry. She was very
the devil.
She was very judgy about that.
That's the devil.
The next article is known as Brotherly Love. Kevin Von Erich, gives Kerry his shot at glory. On Christmas Day in Dallas, Kerry Von Erich was ready to cap his miraculous comeback by challenging Al Perez for the world-class heavyweight title, a match that his brother Kevin gave him as a gift. But the most shameful sneak attack in the history of Texas wrestling spoiled what could have been a glorious night, and that is the night that Fritz Von Erich did one of the most dastardly promotional tactics of all time and faked a heart attack.
And in the story, it's like, oh, shot and cap. It's like, you look at it now, you're like, oh, no, that's not good.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the heart attack angle with Fritz, it's pathetic and it's disgusting. And I've gone on record of saying that I don't want to say that Fritz didn't care about the tragedy that happened in his family with his kids and shit, but I think he capitalized on it way too much.
No, absolutely.
Like, Fritz is a disgusting promoter to me. Like, people can say what they want to say about Vince and the things that he's done or the things that this promoter's done or that promoter's done, but to me, Fritz is disgusting.
Is he in the Hall of Shame?
Like, he sold tickets. Oh, yeah, I put him in the Hall of Shame. He sold tickets to David's funeral. He's trash. Who was it? Mike that had like toxic shock syndrome? Was that Mike?
Yes.
And like threw him back in the ring before he should have been in there because he was all fucked up and wanted to just keep doing that Parade of Champions because the Parade of Champions sold like millions of fucking dollars because of David, and then just kept trying to do it. And it's like, I have no time or love for Fritz Von Erich.
But yeah, this whole heart attack thing was a terrible promotional stunt. And
holy fuck, how many pages is that magazine, Nate? He was like,
yeah, I'm kind of going back and forth.
Got you.
And the pages are made of vinyl. He's like, Jesus Christ. I throw my back out.
The next article in here, and we again, I'm not going to read the article, but it's a way to talk about, again, folks, this is a way to talk about the things that were going on at this time. It's the Hogan Andre DiBiase connection. It was our cover story. The whole controversy has not happened yet at press for this magazine. So the story at this point is Ted DiBiase has said, if Hulk Hogan won't sell me the WWF title, I'll just buy it from somebody else. And that somebody else is Andre the Giant. And this leads to one of the coolest angles in the history of professional wrestling.
Oh yeah, it was good heel shit for sure.
It might be. It might. You say one of the coolest. It might. It might be in like the. And I know one of is what I'm going to say, but it might be the. It might be like in the top 3 greatest fucking angles or stories ever told in wrestling.
For those of you that don't know,
Because everybody
Probably.
was like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean?
yeah. For those of you that don't know, you probably are too young to be watching this, but of course we're talking about when the Hebners, the twin Hebners, we had the switcheroo, and Andre beats Hogan for the title, and then Andre sells the title to Ted DiBiase, and then we find out it's
Andre
a fake,
doesn't
it's
actually
a fake.
beat him.
What?
That's the story. Is Andre doesn't actually beat him.
Right.
Crooked Earl shows up.
How much did they spend on the plastic surgery, brother?
And we didn't get. They never did it when the Brett thing happened either, where they should have been like, we knew Earl was crooked the whole time. Like he did the shit in '88. It took him 9 years to fucking be crooked again. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, this was as a kid, a little Hulkamaniac, I was heartbroken over this. How could they steal the belt from the Hulkster? And then I was happy again when the Macho Man got it. But in the meantime, 10-year-old me was like, Hulkster, he lost the title. Mark.
Yeah, and then Randy won it, and Hogan completely turned to heel, even though they didn't admit it.
Hogan was always the heel.
You were saying
Mark,
something.
your thought. Let's say your thoughts on this whole angle.
I was about like you, like, damn, that was messed up. But at the same time, for some reason, despite the controversy with him now, Ted DiBiase is always going to be one of my favorite heels.
He's really healing up now.
Yeah, I mean, really. But during this time frame, like, this was real good shit with DiBiase because it's relatable on a real level because people try to buy their way into situations all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I dig it. It was definitely, like y'all said, at least in the top 3 wrestling angles of all time.
Now he really is kicking people out of their pool.
Yeah. Very well executed. And they did the smart thing. They did the really smart thing, especially in this era, by doing it on a live special, so that there weren't spoilers in the dirt sheets or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
do it live, pal, because this is a big fucking deal, and we don't want it to get out there before it actually happens. You know. The next article, Lex Luger, the reason Flair's 5th title reign will be his shortest. Ric Flair's plans to hold the NWA World title a 5th time may be cut very short by a young man many feel will be the next superstar of the sport. Lex Luger is now Flair's enemy, and that means trouble for the Nature Boy. Luger, with a babyface turn, has left the Horsemen at this point. He wasn't in the Horsemen very long when you really think about it.
No, I think it was like 5 months.
Yeah, if that. Like, I think of him as a Horseman when I try to think about the Horseman. Like, I think of him as a Horseman alumni, but he really wasn't in the Horseman very long. And I think that's because he was one of those guys that people were cheering him and stuff. And Crockett was just like, well, might as well just turn him babyface.
He was also a guy that Flair was, because everything you want to say about Flair, how do I want to say it? Like, Flair wasn't selfish, you know what I mean? And he knew when a guy was a guy that you could get behind, and he looked at Luger at that point as a guy that he could get behind, and I think thought of him that way and was where he wanted to go with. This is the guy that could take the belt from me, and then Sting ended up showing up, and he was like, "Oh, this guy's 10 times better than Luger." You know what I mean? But at that point, I think Flair looked at it as like, if I got to lose the belt to a guy, it's going to be Lex. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like, look at him. And if the UWF purchase wouldn't have happened, like we were talking about earlier, Luger would have been in that Sting spot.
Oh yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
One of my favorite Flair lines though was when he said, "I don't do jobs in front of 60,000 people." He like straight shot on the business at the same time with that. When Aaron said that Flair wasn't selfish, it made me think of that.
Yeah, Luger was definitely.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say Luger was definitely the heir apparent. You know, like at this time, I'm sure there were. You don't think of Vince really worrying about the other product. You know, you always think of Vince being focused on his company and his product and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm sure when he did see, on the rare occasion when he did see the competition's product, I'm sure Lex Luger was a guy Vince McMahon was looking at going, oh, I got to get my hands on that guy.
I mean, but at the same time, really, he probably had people. He probably had people in specific places just to watch the other products so they could report back to him.
I think that was one of Howard Finkel's jobs.
Right.
Yeah, it was the Stooge report. Then, in Luger's in Luger's book, he talks about Arn.
Yeah, they're at 4:00.
And how funny fucking Arn was. And for some reason, and Lex is like, I never knew why he called me it. But Arn used to call Luger eggplant. Like, what's up, eggplant? He's like, why are you calling me that? He's like, shut up, eggplant.
Who knows?
Now he would just send him a text with the emoji a million times.
You calling me a dick? So
and now I am a
to round out this magazine, Inside Wrestling did something different with the rankings. So I think, if you guys are okay with it, if you remember, Inside Wrestling back in the day used to have, they'd have their rankings for the top 15, the NWA, the AWA, the WWF, most popular, most hated, and the tag teams. But I always thought it was cool that Inside Wrestling had the roll call of champions. And it lists all the champions around the world at this time. So how about we go through that instead of the rankings? Because we've already done a magazine from 88, so I'm sure the rankings in here are pretty much kind of the same, you know?
You're the one reading the book. So
all right. Man. This is...
No, he sent us all copies.
I ain't got eyes on it.
This is the roll call of champions for the period ended January 1st, 1988. So pretty much the end of 87. The ACCW Tag Team Champions are the Mercenaries. They beat Peter Maivia Jr. and Professor Tanaka in Hawaiian Gardens, California. I'm sorry. The Alabama champion.
So would Peter Maivia Jr. wouldn't have been something Rocky went under, would it? I don't think that would have happened.
No.
Okay.
It probably wasn't even. It probably was just some guy that they called Peter because they were promoting in Hawaii at the time, so they probably didn't even. It probably was just some guy that looked like Peter Maivia or something, and then Leah Maivia was like, "We're just going to call you Peter Maivia Jr."
Albert L. Ortega is who it was.
Albert L. Ortega.
Yep.
Also,
the taco shell czar.
Yes, the taco shell guy.
Yeah, his kid.
Let's see here. The All Japan Asian Tag Team Champions were Takashi Ishikawa and Mighty Inuki. The All Japan International Champion was Jumbo Tsuruta. International Tag Team Champions were the Road Warriors. They beat Jumbo Tsuruta and Genshiro Tenryu. The All Japan Junior Heavyweight Champion was, I always fuck up this name, Masanobu Fuchi.
Only if you clean it up after.
He beat Keith Kobayashi. All Japan United National Championship, Genshiro Tenryu beat Ted DiBiase. He's held the title since '86. People talk about the amount of championships sometimes promotions have. Those and then those are the same people that like Japanese wrestling, and each of those Japanese wrestling promotions have like 26 titles. Everybody's got a belt.
Yeah. It's like, oh, here's the you're never there when I need to talk to you champion.
You never call me when you're sober, champion.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit though, Nate. You damn sure you do better than me on them fucking Japanese names.
Some of them trip me up. Like some of it's like if it's got too many fucking consonants in it.
I loved when that fucking dude that disrespected the business, the Earthquake almost kicked the shit out of, that Katao guy.
Mm-hmm.
I like when he showed up at WrestleMania. Like in WrestleMania 7, remember he fought Demolition? Remember that?
Yeah.
And they introduced him and they were like, Katao. And Bobby Heenan was like, what they call him? What's his name? Hand towel?
It's whenever I hear that name, I think like the old comic books when they do a punch or something, you know, kapow.
Yeah, Bobby was like, what's his name? Hand towel? That was so funny.
The AWA.
And I watched it. Sorry. I was just watching some shit on YouTube, and Gene Okerlund was interviewing Bobby about Ken Patera. And he was like, Ken Patera, he's up to all kinds of bad stuff. Like, because Ken had come back, you know, and was a face now. And he was like, all those illegal activities he had. I'm heard he's wanted in 9 states. And then Gene goes, correction, we're now hearing that he's now wanted in 11 states. And Bobby's like, for only 12 counts of rape, he's had a busy weekend.
God.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The AWA TV champion is Greg Gagne at this time, who won a tournament final over Adrian Adonis. AWA Women's Champion Medusa Michelli, who beat Candy Devine for the title. The AWA World Champion Kurt Hennig, who defeated Nick Bockwinkel in what was a great match.
That hour-long one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the AWA World Tag Team Champions, Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose. They beat Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee. They are, of course, Paulie Dangerously's Midnight Express.
Yeah. Consider the original Midnight Express. With Norbell Austin.
Were they going to?
Huh?
So at this time, I don't know where they were going to dig him up from, but
well, they still can't find him. Cornette even says that on his show. He's like, nobody can find Norbell Austin. Like, we don't know where he's at.
He just dipped. He dipped. He was like, I'm done. I'm out. At this time, the British Commonwealth champion was Gama Singh. He in Calgary, of course, is where that title was defended.
In Calgary.
And he beat Owen Hart.
That's fat ass Bastion Booger.
No, it's not. Bastion Booger was Mukum Singh.
Oh, I don't know who Gaman Singh is. And fuck him.
How you spell it?
It's Gama Singh.
Stan.
Oof. Oof. It looks like Tiger Ali Singh mixed with one of the maximum male models nowadays.
Oof. Oof is right.
Standing next to Bastion Booger's fat ass.
They did that. They did that thing in Calgary. Those guys all pretended to be. They were essentially white guys posing as like Indians or whatever. But
Well, yeah, because there was that dude up there in Canada at that time that was like living up in the fucking mountains and was like converting people to like Hinduism or whatever.
mm-hmm.
Well, he must have had
Like,
a pretty decent
You're like,
run.
like I don't know what I'm talking about, but that was a thing.
He must have had a
No, I
pretty
know
decent run in Stampede though, because when you search him up, it show the first match that shows up is him versus Davey Boy. So
Oh yeah, they
Sorry,
were.
Nate,
They
I
were
didn't mean to
like,
blow you off when I
that's
thought
all
you
right.
didn't think it
It's
was what I was
fine.
talking about.
I'm not. It's no big deal, literally.
All
But they were like a big heel faction in Stampede, like for a while. And you know
Yeah, that all
what?
sucks.
It worked. It worked up there.
Yeah, but they're always like, oh, Mokum's thing. Like I say, oh, he sucked. They're like, well, he had great matches with Owen Hart. It's like, who didn't fucking have good matches with Owen Hart? Fuck off. Fucking Bastion Booger still sucks.
The Florida champion at this time was Mike Rotunda,
Boring.
and he beat Sir Oliver Humperdinck for the title.
Good lord.
The
Moses
IWG
smell the roses, as our good friend would say.
The IWGP champion was Antonio Inoki, who had beaten Dick Murdoch in a tournament final in '86. Let's see here. IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Man, this guy has been doing it for a long time in the business. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight champion at this time, vacant. Watch out for vacant, man.
Yeah.
I was like really expecting him to say somebody.
That's why I did it. I thought I was like, oh, this would be fun. We'll hype up vacant.
You know where he's from, don't you?
Parts
What's that,
unknown.
Yep.
NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion Nelson Royal won the title October
Still?
16th, 1987 by NWA decision.
Aaron said, "Still."
The NWA was just like, we're just going to give you the belt. Nobody cares anyway.
So we'll treat it like a boxing match.
We just want you to shut the fuck up and go away, Nelson Royal.
The NWA six-man tag team champions at the time were the Road Warriors and Dusty Rhodes.
Oh
who
yeah.
They beat Ivan and Nikita Koloff and Baron Von Raschke for the belt.
I can't
Baron
believe
Von
Von Raschke was still alive.
Oh, he's still going. But Raschke, yay or nay, Nate?
In 1988, nay. Now, if I go back, and obviously I haven't seen a lot of it, excuse me, but if you go back and look at pictures or videos of him in the 70s in the AWA when he was leaner and had a more menacing look, I say yay. Because he did come off as like a German Nazi bastard, you know. I mean, for the territory that he had his biggest success in, I would say yay because it worked. By this time,
And
it's
great.
all the people need to know, and all.
I was just gonna say, like, it could almost be a good babyface catchphrase then, but just one of the best catchphrases ever. And that's all the people need to know. It's a great fucking catchphrase.
But yeah, like I said, I will give him his due as being during
Babyface Raschke with fucking Boogie Woogie Man. No.
What the fuck?
Well, pretty much Raschke and Crockett at all. Like by that point, I say no. But like I said, given the territory, the AWA, the gimmick he was doing, the look he had, and the time that he was doing it, perfectly fine.
All right.
NWA TV champion Nikita Koloff, NWA World Champion Ric Flair, and the NWA Tag Team Champions, of course, were Arn and Tully. The Pacific Northwest champion at this time was the Grappler, who had defeated Mike Miller for the title. The Pacific Northwest Tag Team Champions, Scott Peterson and Steve Dahl. They beat Joey Jackson and Super Ninja.
There's been 20 million Super Ninjas.
That's true.
That's why I said it.
What was the other ninja's name that Zbyszko had? He had Super Ninja and
I don't fucking remember.
I don't remember either. Southeast champion Lord Humongous defeated Danny Davis for the title. Southeast
Sid?
At this point, maybe, because I think he is wrestling by this point.
It wasn't Mr. Saito, was it?
He's in. No. Because Sid's in the NWA by what? If not late '88, by early '89.
What territory was it? Sorry.
It was. Let me see. It just says Southeast, so probably Alabama.
Oh, it would have been Sid then, because Sid was right in that Alabama, Tennessee area. So it's probably Sid.
Well, not going further, it's definitely Alabama, because Southeast Continental Champion is Dutch Mantel. The Southeast Tag Team Champions are Robert Fuller and Jimmy Golden. So it's definitely
Sid.
Alabama.
It was Sid. Sid was in West Memphis, Arkansas. So yeah, it's probably Sid.
And he's I mean, what a better territory to learn the business in when you're first starting out. You got fucking Dutch Mantel around, Robert Fuller's around.
Yeah.
Probably Tom Pritchard's in and out.
The only thing I can find on ninjas with Larry Zbyszko is Mr. Go, Mr. Saito, and Super Ninja.
That's the one. At one point they didn't call him Mr. Go, they called him Ninja Go. That's what I was like, what's the other goofy ninja name? Yes, Ninja Go. That's what it was.
What other fucking form of entertainment can you say? Let me look back and see what ninjas were associated with. This guy from Minnesota.
Yeah.
I fucking love wrestling.
Larry Zbyszko and his ninjas.
That is funny.
Fuck anybody that doesn't like wrestling.
Stampede North American Champion Owen Hart. He defeated Muckin Singh for the title. Stampede International Tag Team Champions Bruce Hart and Brian Pillman. And they defeated Muckin Singh. And it's funny, you got all these Singhs, Muckin and Gamma and blah, blah, blah. But Bruce Hart and Brian Pillman defeated Muckin Singh and Jerry Morrow for the tag team tag. What is this random white guy? I mean, they're all white. You know what I mean? Non-Singh. What is this random non-Singh guy doing in with these guys?
Were they Bad Breed or what the fuck they call themselves? Bruce Hart, Brian Pillman.
I don't remember.
I think it was Bad Breed. I think
that sounds like a late '80s tag team name. So you're probably right. So it sounds as right as anything else does. The Tennessee heavyweight champion at the time is Doug Furnas. He won a tournament final over Tony Anthony. Did you ever hear Cornette's story about Doug Furnas's brother?
Oh, his brother was terrible.
Yeah, but
I've watched it.
Okay, so you've seen the match where he just goes down.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like, that was Cornette doing a favor for Doug. Doug was like, I'll come in and do some shots for you and stuff if you give my brother a chance. And Cornette's like, yeah, we'll give him a chance, and Smoky Mountain and blah, blah. And then they built the match to build up Doug's brother. So Doug sold most of the match to the heels, and then his brother gets the hot tag and comes in and just crumples. It was like Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, like all this build up for this guy, and he gets the hot tag, and then he's just down. And Doug had to finish the match anyway.
It's bad. It's bad shit. And there's promos and shit on Smoky Mountain with his brother. It's fucking bad. I forget his brother's fucking name, but
I do too. Tom, maybe Tom Furnace. But yeah, it's a great. That's just I don't know.
Even though his name was Furnace, he was still the hot shits.
He really cooled off quick too. The Wild West Tag Team Champions, John Tatum and Jack Victory.
What fucking promotion was that?
I love me some Tatum and Victory. Well, at this time, they actually had a Wild West Wrestling in Texas because obviously Fritz's territory is dying. And I don't remember who the promoter was or anything, but there was most definitely a Wild West Wrestling in Texas.
So it was WWW before it stood for World Wide Web.
Right.
would it have been Gary Hart?
Possibly Gary Hart and
I'm just saying
Gary Hart and Ken Mantell.
Possibly.
But I love John Tatum and Jack Victory. I really do. Those guys were great. And Tatum, I wish Tatum would have got a shot on a national level because I think he's a great like crybaby heel.
Yeah.
Let's see here. World class champion Al Perez, world class junior heavyweight champion Eric Embry, world class 6-man champions Kevin Von Erich, Steve Simpson, and Chris Adams. World-class tag team champions Kerry and Kevin Von Erich, world-class TV champion Tony Atlas, world-class Texas champion Matt Bourne, world-class Texas tag team champions Skip Young and Tony Atlas. How many fucking titles did they have at this time? The World Pacific champion is our boy, Superfly Tui. And the World Pacific Tag Team Champions, even more fun, Farmer Boy Ippo and Leroy Brown.
There's a Farmer Hippo?
It's Farmer Boy Ippo or I don't know, IPO. It's not an IPA, it's an IPO. Initial public offering. It's Farmer Boy initial public offering.
He's a hillbilly accountant.
I have to share my screen on this one. So here's
y'all need your butts done.
Here's Superfly Tui, and
here's Superfly Tui. All right,
is Tui in the stripes?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's Farmer Boy, whatever.
Evidently, it's a promo, and it's called Monkeys and Gorillas.
I want to hear it.
You want to hear it? Let's see. Is it? No, I had to share that one. And you are saying it correct. It is Tui. Let me present the other one. 1 second. Boom. Present. Share screen. Let's go.
I don't know technology.
You ready?
I'm ready. Who's this guy?
Fly Tui! You know something, everybody's hot, am I right? Man, I got some crazy people. Boy, I tell you something, man. When you step in wrestling, Southpack Wrestling, what I mean, the maximum action. That means action to the what? To the T, to the top. Absolutely, absolutely. Let me say something about, what's his name, the guy just left a few minutes ago? Oh, you mean the Cake Award? Yeah, really? Man, yeah. Woo. What's wrong with him, huh? Hey, man. When they released him that state hospital, yeah? You gotta watch this guy. Not only gotta watch that guy, you gotta watch the other one too. What's the name of the other one too? Which the new guy with a green outfit could kill it? Yeah, that's the real Mongolian. I'm talking about the Mongolian. Yeah, he spent too much time sticking down close to the zoo. Yeah, that's true.
Is that right?
And his man.
Let me tell you something, Mongolia. You spend a lot of time observing those monkeys and those gorillas, how they behave. So if you want to get to reality, get your head straight or go down to Kaneohe, where Billy Keke the Warrior originally from.
Woo. I say, what
You know,
about his man?
I don't want to come over here and blow my cool, but I'm so fed up with them come over here and abusing people, talking about, what's the name of the other clown that comes over here and talk about the local people, they're ugly. You know, tell me something
That's
about
the
it.
real deal.
What's his name?
Callahan.
Let me say this to you, my little fellow out there. I don't know where you're from, but you're in the local territory, like Manu the Barbarian was saying. If you don't like the way the local people look, you don't like the way the people of this island behave, you better get your ass straight, or we're going to put you on a ship. I mean, you know what I'm going to do? Maybe you just make an emu. Have you seen an emu? And look, the emu. Kalua the sucker, right?
Not only was that dude just rambling, but the interviewer was funny because his thing was "woo." That guy would say something in the interview, just be like "woo."
I don't know. He had
I don't know.
a green outfit.
Look, I'm just gonna say this: Superfly Tui was definitely not Samoan. He was definitely Hispanic.
I say "Viva la raza" to the island people. The World Wrestling Association heavyweight champion at this time is the Great Wojo.
Whoa, Joe!
Little boy, little boy, right there.
The WWC Caribbean Tag Team Champions, Samoan, Samu, and Fatu. The WWC Junior Heavyweight Champion, El Gran Mendoza. The North American Champion in WWC, of course, is TNT, that we know is Savio Vega. Which it did my heart good. It did my heart good to hear Savio get that pop in Puerto Rico, baby.
Yeah, he'll probably go in the Hall of Fame this year.
I was about to say, how great was it to see him during that Bad Bunny and Damian Priest match?
You know what else is funny about Savio? Savio is one of those guys who, because he was never like super built or anything like that, like he doesn't look much older now than he did 25 years ago. Like I was like, damn, Savio's looking good. But he didn't have, you know what I mean? Like he didn't focus on his looks that much anyway. So
and like I said, I know people like shit on the WWF or the WWE Hall of Fame or whatever, but I think he's probably gonna go in this year. And I think you're gonna see a lot of guys like him get either brought back for one-offs like that or go into the Hall of Fame now that Hunter has some say in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially with people that he worked with throughout the years.
Yeah, I like seeing him do the whole step inside and do the kick thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was totally popping for that shit because Aaron knows I've been a Savio Vega mark since Savio Vega. I mean, wasn't a big fan of Quang, but
I live streamed
it.
Well,
Quang's cool at that Royal Rumble where he's just like posing in between everybody.
Yeah.
Just having his own good time. That's fun shit.
I had live streamed it on Whatnot, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, damn, I know Nate's popping right now.
The WWC heavyweight champion, I already said that. Puerto Rican champion, Kareem Muhammad. The WWC tag team champions, Mr. Pogo and Kendo Nagasaki. WWC Universal Champion is, of course, Carlos Colon. And then we will round it out with the roll call of champions at this time of the World Wrestling Federation. WWF Intercontinental Champion, the Honky Tonk Man. WWF World Champion, Hulk Hogan. WWF Tag Team Champions, Martel and Santana. WWF Women's Champion, Sherry Martel. And the WWF Women's Tag Team Champions, Leilani Kai and Judy Martin. And that is your roll call of champions to round out this edition this copy of Inside Wrestling from April of 1988. And
Since you brought him up, I'm gonna say this: I ain't never seen somebody so bitter with the wrestling world as Robert Wayne Ferris.
when I met him, it was either the last convention I went to or the one before that. Because I had him sign my Retrofest figure. And we were talking, and you know what? To talk to him as a fan, the dude's cool as fuck, man. Like,
Right.
he is cool as fuck. I'll say that. He was great interaction. He didn't move me along. You know, he took time and had a talk with me. And I said something about, I don't know what we were talking about. I think I mentioned him not being in the Hall of Fame, you know, because we were like talking about his career and stuff. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of weird they haven't put you in the Hall of Fame yet. So did they put him in the Hall? They did put him in the Hall eventually, didn't they?
Let me
Yeah,
check.
he's in there.
Okay. Well, anyway. No, it wasn't that. It was, no. That was it. It wasn't, I can't believe you're not in the Hall. I was like, I can't believe it took so long. I'm glad you're in the Hall of Fame. That's right. That's what it was. That's what the conversation was. And he was like, yeah, it's cool that they put me in and stuff, but man, they just ignore you. They just ignore you. He's like, last time they were in Florida, nobody even called me, brother. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, you're cool. We've been cool, but why do they need to call you? You know, when they don't need to call you. What do they need to call the Honky Tonk Man for? If they call every wrestler that it lives in Florida when they're in Florida, they'll have to call everybody.
Right. It's just I watch a lot of the shoot interviews that he's done, and it's like he's got a chip on his shoulder for sure.
Yeah. I think that, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what his chip would be. They let him be the Honky Tonk Man. You know, they don't pull the whole we own the gimmick thing or whatever. He's made tons of money on the indie scene with that gimmick for 25, 30 years.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what the bitterness is either. But like I said, I mean, I had a good interaction with him, but I didn't understand that whole they didn't even call me thing. Like, but every time they land in Miami, they're supposed to ring up the Honky Tonk Man and let them know they're in town. I don't know. Whatever. It's like, call your mother. Call your mother.
Come on down. You know, we'll throw you in there somewhere.
Well, guys, thank you for joining me. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us. And if you guys have any parting words for our viewers, if not, the host has to pee, so we're going to end the show. But
Well, we won't hold you up and let you relieve your bladder.
Nope, I don't have anything. Just listen to all their shows.
Yep.
Support the YouTube channel, and
yep,
that's
if
it.
you're watching now, share and subscribe. That's all I can say. Share and subscribe, and we'll see you next time around here in a couple days. I'll put up another poll to get our next magazine selected. I know Aaron is rooting for this 95 magazine that I've had in the poll from the very beginning. So throw him a bone, everybody. Vote for the damn 95 magazine. It's got Razor Ramon on the cover.
Man, just fucking do it. The fuck.
Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next time around here on the Wrestling Magazine Spot.